Hey everyone, Aslah here. So I switched from a 4 years old iPhone XS to this 13 mini 2 months back, and I've been dailying this phone since then. And I did a day in the life review on my channel, and from the response I got from that video, I realized there's a huge fan base for mini version iPhones, and rightly so. In this video, I want to go over the good and bad of the 13 mini and what has been my experience so far. Personally, I really enjoy this boxy design with this stainless steel rails. It has 5.4-inch display, and by the numbers, it's only a little bigger than the iPhone 5. But what really makes this phone so great is how handy this is. I almost forgot we used to have phones this size. It's so easy to navigate around iOS with just one hand, and finger fatigue is not an issue at all compared to the larger iPhones. It's also easier to store in your jeans pocket, and while it doesn't have the best battery life or the pro camera features or even the higher refresh rate like the new iPhones, I think it's still one of the best iPhone designs. The 13 mini has 1200 nits peak brightness and 800 nits max brightness, which is a decent improvement from all the previous iPhone minis from what I read. Even though it features only a 60Hz display, unlike the 13 and 14 Pro models, which now has the 120Hz refresh rate, the brightness really does make a difference. Having a higher brightness really does give you a unique experience on this phone, but I don't know how often do you read articles or blog posts on your iPhone. One thing I noticed having the smaller display is that when you're reading a longer article or if you're on a website that has a lot of text, you tend to scroll a lot more than usual, and sometimes you even have to zoom in a little bit if the text is smaller. So that is something that I noticed compared to my previous iPhone. One thing I miss on this iPhone is the 3D touch. The last iPhone that had 3D touch was the XS. New generation iPhones replaced it with something called haptic touch. So now while typing, you can't move around the cursor by just pressing anywhere on the keyboard. Instead, you have to long press the space key. This definitely took some time to get used to. So the 13 mini has the A15 Bionic chip, which is the same chip as this year's iPhone 14 and 14 Plus and last year's 13 Pro models. So you're getting a higher CPU performance for hundreds of dollars less, which is a total win in my book. One thing I noticed with this 13 mini is the delay when using the camera remote on the Apple Watch. I'm not sure if this is specific to the 13 mini, but my 4 years old XS didn't have this issue. It just takes longer to connect to the phone camera. I often use this feature if I want to film myself and use my phone as a reference for frame and a remote. I couldn't show it on the camera here, but on a daily it happens quite often and it's annoying. So the main complaint people had with the iPhone mini versions is the battery life. Obviously there's a limitation of how much battery this can take with the size of this phone, but this is my first ever iPhone mini. From what I read, this has significantly improved the battery life over the previous generation. I have done an entire day in the life video reviewing the battery life of this phone, so do check it out to see how long it lasted. Now, my favorite part of this iPhone is the camera. I'm not sure it's because I switched from an older iPhone, but the camera has significant bump over any iPhones. Even though it's missing the 2x telephoto lens compared to my XS, it has the wide lens. The wide angle camera features a bigger sensor with larger pixels for improved light gathering, and the ultra wide camera comes equipped with a faster sensor for better low light performance. The only complaint I have is the slow shutter speed while taking night photos, so if your hands are not that stable, you might end up with a shaky picture. There are many options in camera which previous models doesn't have. They have added many software improvements like cinematic mode, which gives you the rack focus video capability, and there is photographic styles to add in camera personalized look based on tone and warmth adjustments. 13 mini is not the best or the most feature dense iPhone you can ever buy, but since Apple did not release an iPhone mini this year, there are rumors that this might be the last mini version iPhone in Apple's lineup. So I will be personally using this phone for the foreseeable future. I really enjoy the ultra wide lens and I've been experimenting it with on my stories and reels. So if you own one of these, cherish it because it's going to be last of its kind. On that note, it's probably a good place to end this video. If you have enjoyed it, make sure to like and subscribe. And if you have been, thanks for watching. I'll talk to you all next week. Cheers.